and welcome to Good Studio. All right, so I'm pretty happy. I know it looks messy, but I'm pretty happy with my basic structure that I have built for the skin, for the wrinkles and crevices and cracks and whatever, the texture on the skin. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on this eye. I would like to get that eye finished out. So I'm going to take my Holbein orange here, put a little bit of that out. And maybe a little bit, let's see what happens if I mix white with that. I'm not sure, it's trial and error. I think I'm going to need to add a little sienna to that. I don't want it to get too out of hand here with the orange. Before I do that, I think I will take a little bit of the burnt sienna all by itself and just kind of rim the iris a little bit. May not really make that big of a difference. Maybe a little. All right, now I'll take my orange with just a little bit of that burnt sienna in it, and now I'll pop in that white. I like that a lot better. Let's see if this makes a difference now. Now this is just a clean, damp brush. And this is also the time when I'm going to start looking at shapes to determine if I need to make any changes there. It doesn't look too bad. All right. I think I'm going to start by putting in this highlight. I'm going to use the white. Let's see what the teal looks like here. Maybe add a little bit of the blue. Tone it down just a tiny fraction of a bit. And now let's pop this lower lid. Yeah, I like the color. And if it ends up being too bright, remember we can always wash over it. So don't worry about that. And there's a little bit of a glint, I think. Right there. Okay. All right. That is going to be pretty bright, and it's not all the same value there, but I'm going to let it dry for right now. So I love this area here. I probably couldn't do that again in a million years. But I need to get some lights down in here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to show you my little mushy finger technique. I think I'll wet this a little bit first. And then I'm going to take my finger. I don't think I want to go bright white though. Let's pull a little bit of this white aside and put just a hint of blue in it maybe. Let's see. Yeah? And take my finger, and where I know this light is going to be, and let my finger add some texture in there. I love finger painting. Now let's pull some of that. This is a pretty bright area up in here. I don't know if I'm going to go as bright as what the photo is, but we'll get a few things going on. That's looking pretty good, and I really like the texture. And I think we might be able to even put a little bit up in here. Again, I just want to get that texture, and then we'll redefine where those folds are. Get a little further along, and I'll come back and share some more hopefully good tips and techniques so that you can be working on your elephant as well. Alrighty, we're back. So I have definitely played around with this a little bit more. I have tried a variety of things to try to see how I can make these individual little pillows, I'm going to call them, because I like calling them that, these little pillows that you see come to life. And what I found was I feel like I've lost a lot of this cool stuff that I had going on here. So what I'm going to do, I played around a little bit up here, and that worked out really well, and I played around a little bit in through here. And so I'm going to go back and add another layer of wax and get some of those textures back. That's what I've decided to do. So over here on the palette, I have some cold wax out. It's been sitting here a little while, so I just want to make sure it hasn't got too dried out. All right. And I'm going to be using those same colors. Go ahead and freshen up my piles of paint here. This is ultramarine blue. And burnt umber. Alizarin crimson. And teal. Come on, teal. And maybe some burnt sienna, but I think I'll wait before I put that out. I don't want things to dry up too badly. And then I'm going to go back to using the palette knife. I think I have a couple different sizes here. This one should be good with the tip to get into some of these smaller areas, and this one might also work. Okay, so let's start. Like I said, I've done some of this. Some of this right in through here has a second layer on. And you can see that you can really develop some textures. But I am being careful because I don't want to completely obliterate my road map and have to go back through that again. So that's why I'm using a like the tip of the knife or a smaller knife so I can get in and do smaller areas. So let's see what we've got here. That's dried up. Let's take and make gray. So I'm going to mix these two together. I'm going to add a little more brown because I want this to be a little warmer. He's getting pretty cold looking. So let's see if we can lean into some warmer colors here for a little while. A little bit of this wax aside, put a little bit of that in there, and let's see what we've got. That's a really dark gray. Let's look. Now I may take a little bit of this before I lighten it up. I may take a little bit of this and start over here on this ear. And just see if I can get some darker tones on this ear. I like the blue, but it was just starting to be a little too much. I always like sticking my finger in here. Sometimes my finger gives me what I'm looking for too. All right, I'm gonna let that dry and then I'll probably incorporate some other colors on top. Okay, so I'm gonna add some white into the mix. And lighten this gray up. And then I'm going to see, all right, so this is where, again, you've really got to pay attention to what's happening over here and find and get those main contours, like this section here is coming down here. There's a tusk, and that's why this bulges out a little bit. Now, we're not doing the tusk, it's beyond our line of vision, but that's why that bulges out there a little bit. And then, you know, the main section of the trunk comes down, so it's going to round back this way, and then it's going to round back this way. So you need to kind of keep all of that in mind while you're doing this. So let's get started. And I know this area here has some lighter values, so I'm just going to take a little bit of that, try to highlight some areas. And again, use your finger if you need to, scrape off, move it around. But of course I don't want that all to be gray. And I'm putting really thin layers on, so keep that in mind as well. But I kind of like how that's shaping up, especially up in here. I want to get more of a, yeah. Oh, goodness, come on. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. So that I like. So let's get a little more wax out. All right, I'm going to get some of my favorite teal in here. I'm also going to mix up a little bit of my Alizarin Crimson, I think. All right, so let's see. I think over in here, maybe I'm going to try get a little bit of this working. Because I don't want him, you know, to be all gray. What fun is that, right? So I guess all I can say is it's trial and error, folks. And if you put something on you don't like, then wait a few minutes and you can go back over it. That's what I've learned. I got, you know, let's put some gray here. I don't want to. Okay, I kind of like that. That way the colors are there, but they're a little more subtle. And maybe I need to have a little darker gray available. Oh, and I don't want to forget about purple. I'll come back to that, but I don't want to forget about purple. Well, let's see. Let's try putting some, because this is where your main, you got a pretty good highlight here. You got some pretty good highlights over in here. And then as it starts to turn, we get some darker values. I am going to put a little bit of Alizarin Crimson in that and kind of, now remember, this was ultramarine blue and burnt umber mixed together. And I've decided now I'm going to add a little Alizarin Crimson in there, get a little mauvey purple maybe, and see what happens over here. And, I'm kind of thinking about the direction everything goes as I'm doing this. And maybe, let's see, maybe I'll stick a little bit of this darker purple in there too. And where else? Where? Oh yeah, I see something up here. I think we could use some up here. Now I'm being pretty aggressive and really smushing this on because I want those textures that are in the background to be picked up. I'm going to take a little bit of this and see what happens now if I kind of smush it over here. Yeah. That had some interest. And let's try that burnt sienna and see where we go with that too. Remember, whatever you put on here, like I said, if you don't like it, we can always come back and put some more wax right on top. Let's see, where do I want to go? Well, let's add a little bit of this over here, kind of get a feel for it. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Maybe. Let's get a touch of it over here. Now, I don't know if you can discern it or not, but I can still see my lines. At least I can see enough of them that I can go back if I need to and play. Bring them out, which I will go back when I start pulling forward some of these little, like in here, I'm hoping you can see, and I'll zoom here and I'll zoom in a minute and show you what I mean. But I am, after I get this texture back on, I will go back then and try to bring out some of those shadows and darker areas to start making these little pillows come to life. So. Maybe a little blue. Ooh, I like that right there. A little bit of Alizarin Crimson. Just to break up the monotony, if nothing else. Okay. Doing this is also really good. If you got something you don't like that you need to soften, this is an excellent opportunity to do that as well. Blue is all dried up. Let's get a little blue in here now. This might be kind of good to do over in here just a little bit because I don't have, just kind of soften all of that dark that I just put on so that it looks like maybe there's some, there is some light coming in there. Kind of maybe a reflected light. I'll get it. Oh, maybe. See what it looks like if we just add a little bit here. Yeah. And maybe, I don't care for the way those are looking, so let's get a little something happening down there. Maybe a little gray would be good. Yeah. Okay. And this over in here is looking really flat, so let's just bounce that out. Oh, burnt sienna. I forgot about the burnt sienna. I think I need darker up there. Let's take, I need to get a little more burnt umber out. Oh wait, I know what I can use. Let's take this darker purple. Basically anywhere that I feel like it's just getting really flat looking, I'm trying to go back in and add some texture to it. so that there's some really interesting areas to look at and see. Hopefully. I love it when the wax starts to dry and you just kind of can float on top, and oh man, you can make some neat stuff. Okay. And even though I like this down here being dark, I do want to break up and see, now I can make that look like there's some really great textures there, and I can always glaze over it and add some shadows later. But this gives me something really interesting to look at down there. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, let's see. I'd like to have, well, maybe a little spot of this, just kind of lightly drug. Because, you know, I gotta have my turquoise. I love my, oops, that's a little lot, that's a lot, that's a lot. Let's see. Just some little touches here and there. It's supper time for Lucy, so Bill's going to make some noise. I apologize. Not a whole lot I can do there. And although I need this dark area, it's just so flat, you know. I think what I'm going to do, this, I don't care for how this is working out either, so I'm going to just drag a little bit more on top of that. And I definitely want to drag some over here. Get a little darker if I can. Being lazy, I need to make some more. Okay, I'll have to come back to that. We'll just let that dry for a little while, and then we'll be able to come back and smush some more stuff over top. Oh, she loves her dinner time. Lucy always lets us know she loves her dinner time. Pretty colorful. I don't think I've ever done anything so colorful. So, whether he stays that way or not, I don't know. That bit of blue up there, as much as I like it, it's distracting me, so I feel like I need to tone it down just a little bit. Really smush it in there.